Hello everyone, this is Shannon from That's So Po, and today I'm doing a review of Siren Queen by Nghi Vo. This is a 2022 new release queer historical fantasy that I thought was just stunning. It was absolutely lovely, and I want to tell you all about why I loved it so much. So first, let me tell you what the story is about. We follow a Chinese American girl growing up in this historical, fantastical version of Los Angeles in the 1920s, and she is completely enthralled by movies and wants more than anything else to become a movie star. And she would really do anything to get that, including making some bargains with rather demonic magic. There are some content warnings for this, so I will put those in the description box below. Now let me tell you about what made this book so special to me, starting with just the writing itself, the narrative voice, and the atmosphere. This book really engaged me from the very first page. I love the way that Nghi Vo writes, and I really liked the narrative voice of this book in particular. So this is told almost like a movie star's memoir, where we're getting little hints of her from the future, looking back on her past self, as she is telling us what she went through. And it has this movie star of the 30s feel. You can feel that glamour in the way that she is talking, in the way that the narrative itself is being put together. It feels like a movie star's memoir. I absolutely loved that. And just the writing itself was so immersive and so atmospheric. I felt that I was in this fantastical movie star world, and it was just really immersive. I also loved the world building and the magic in this book. And I think that this is something where you have to like a very thrown into the deep end style of world building and magic. Very few things in this story are explained to you. You are just being with the main character as she's going through life and picking up on how this world works, how the demons are part of the people in the world, how there are things like changelings, how there is magic where you can bargain away some years of your life in order to get something back from someone, how you can have a glamour, or how stars are made. It's just so much of it is just woven throughout that makes the world building feel incredibly natural. It feels like this is just how the world is. Nothing is spelled out for you, and I love that kind of world building. But if you're somebody who likes things spelled out a little bit more, I think that it might feel frustrating because you never really fully grasp all of the aspects of the world building. You just know that some things are true. There are people who aren't humans. There are deals with demons, and it's just part of the world as she goes through her story. More of the background to it rather than the central focus, and it really worked for me. Another thing that was perfect for me was the main character. She is very much an unlikable protagonist in a way that made me love her. She is somebody who is incredibly driven. She is often called cold by those around her because she doesn't have necessarily the empathy or the compassion or those softer feelings. She has this drive, and she is willing to do whatever it takes, even if it requires stepping over other people, even if it requires giving up parts of herself in order to be who she wants to be and to achieve her dreams of being this movie star and being the type of movie star that she wants to, because consider what's going on 1930s as a Chinese American actress and the roles that are available to her. And she will take what she can take to get that. So I loved her as a protagonist, and I loved that drive, and I loved that unapologetic aspect of her character where she knew what she wanted, and it's just not going to be anything that she ever apologizes for or curbs, and that was really wonderful. Another great thing about this story is all of the queer relationships. Nghi Vo always writes queerness into her stories, but this one in particular, it just thrived on the queer relationships. The main character has multiple lovers throughout the course of the story, and we get that kind of passion and the all-consuming need that she feels for her lovers, the different types of lovers as well. We also get steamy scenes, which isn't that common outside of the romance genre to see kind of steamy sex scenes for same-sex lovers. I thought that was really cool. I also think that it's so cool how many side characters are also queer and how there's very much a queer community built into this story, and discussing what it was like in that 1930s fantastical Hollywood setting to be queer when that really wasn't accepted, and the sort of subversive nature and secretive nature that they had to follow in order to live the lives that they wanted to live while being controlled by these sort of demonic movie studio heads. It was just really, really wonderful queer counterculture and love. And lastly, I absolutely adored the themes in this. I thought that they were so fantastic. We have so many interesting themes and sort of topics being addressed in this book because of what it is. We have a Chinese American queer woman as our protagonist in this Hollywood setting. And so she is dealing with so many different things. She is dealing with racism and being boxed into stereotypes, and she's dealing with sexism and misogyny, and she's dealing with homophobia and all of these sorts of things. And one of the things I think that was really well done in this was this very much addressed the Me Too movement. There is so much in this about these studio heads and directors and men in power who are abusing, especially sexually abusing, so definitely content warnings for this, so many of the people in their control. And so this book was originally written, I think, around 2016, 2017, and you really feel that kind of Me Too movement in what this is addressing, even though this is set in the 1930s in this kind of historical fantasy version of it. But I loved how it was talking about that abuse of power and the abuse of people who have the control over those who are trying to make their own fame, make their own stardom, but don't necessarily have the power to say no. It is just fantastic theming, and I think it really adds a lot of depth and uses the magic especially as a way to talk about some of these issues that I thought was fantastic. Overall, I think that Siren Queen is an absolutely fantastic book. It has incredible writing, such strong narrative voice, wonderful magic, great characters and themes, and it was just such a joy to read. I think that as long as the style of the magic and world building is something that works for you, I think you should for sure pick this up. Nghi Vo has really cemented herself as one of my favorite SFF authors writing today. She's wonderful. This book is wonderful. I really highly recommend it. So if you guys have read Siren Queen, if you're interested in it, if you've read anything else by Nghi Vo, if you've read anything else that sounds like this or has great themes dealing with stuff like Me Too, definitely leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you.